Okay, item number 2 on my list is I got a communication from Dark Skies. Let me pull it up, an email. They would like to have a community meeting, and Jim gave me several dates to do that. Asked if we would consider that. June 16th, 19th, 20th, or 22nd are the dates that he would like to have a Dark Skies community meeting. We didn't discuss where, what, how. He's just picking some dates. He and I did speak about, there was some confusion at the meeting we had last time about commissioners approving Dark Skies. And he's going to email that to me, and unfortunately I don't have it quite yet. Apparently that was done. There was a letter sent to the electric companies by a prior BOCC.
There were letters.
Had Ms. Custer in it. I understand. One with Ms. Custer in it, and they had asked that any new fixtures that they put in would be Dark Skies compatible. So I just wanted to make that. We had thought Kit had been part of that, and Kit was not a member of that BOCC. I just want to clarify that one item. So anyway, so the dates that he's interested in is 16, 19, 20, and 22.
And who's going to be here?
Sir?
Who's going to be at the meeting?
Well, I would think anybody from the public who would like to
Are
come.
you involving planning and zoning in this? Because you need to go through them. If we're considering a zoning change, that's the protocol. We don't just go.
Can I add to this? Because we discussed this at the Dark Skies meeting on Monday, which is when these dates came up. But the plan or the intent was, at least for Dark Skies, that we have a public meeting, an evening meeting at the bowling alley, invite the public, advertise it. We will advertise it. So anybody who has any questions about it can come and talk about it.
But let me go one step further.
Good.
Jim and I spoke about this morning.
Okay.
He is going to ask you, along with Vic Barnes and Jackie Hobby, to be involved in writing a suggested resolution so that the folks who come to this meeting can read specifically what Dark Skies is looking to do.
And that's correct, because initially there was talk about actually having an ordinance, and Dark Skies has realized there's opposition to that. We think we could accomplish the same thing if the commissioners go with this, but it would be through amending the zoning resolution. I know Vic Barnes there are a number of things that they need or want to amend in the zoning resolution. This would be one provision of that, but there wouldn't be any penalty for that. It would just be for future new construction what's required as far as lighting in order for Jackie Hobby or the planning and zoning director to approve the construction, but it wouldn't be a penalty. There wouldn't be a fine for somebody, but it would be through the zoning resolution, which is why we do want to have Vic Barnes and Jackie Hobby involved.
But, excuse me.
Go ahead.
That's not the way it works. We have a planning and zoning commission that work with Vic. Vic and Jackie don't make the decision.
No, it would be.
It should go through planning and zoning for what Vic and Jackie bring forward, or else have the whole committee there.
Okay, well, if it doesn't need to be a commissioners meeting, and it wouldn't be a meeting, it would just be, where you're making any decisions, it would just be to be there. But if you'd rather that it go through planning and zoning, then I can talk to Vic directly and see if he wants to do that.
Here's the reason I'm saying that. I've been approached by a couple of planning and zoning members who feel that some of the commissioners are going around them with things they're doing and they're not talking to them.
Okay, well, the idea is to work with planning and zoning, and this would just be part of their overall amending the zoning resolution. And if you feel better that this meeting just be a planning commission meeting, we can certainly do it that way instead.
I don't care how we do it. I strongly recommend that they be involved, not just one or two of them.
Okay, and I wasn't suggesting it would just be the two of them, but those were the ones I had talked to. But it would be the planning commission. It was what has to come.
Excuse me. He just said Jackie and Barnes would be there.
well, those were the
No, I
names
said they would-
mentioned, but it would be the whole planning commission would be invited. It wouldn't be a formal meeting of the planning commission, at least that wasn't my understanding of it, but the whole planning commission would have a right to be there, so they could hear just generally what's being proposed, and then take it from there, where they have their formal meetings to discuss amending the zoning resolution. Yes.
Clint, so I know that when we had our workshop, there were questions that we needed answers to. So should this be a public meeting put on by us again to have Jim answer those questions?
Well, I guess that would depend on how you want to proceed on this. There was a workshop, I guess I was looking at this as another workshop because he has answers to those questions that he can provide now. And it wouldn't be a formal meeting of the Planning Commission or a formal meeting of the Board of County Commissioners as far as any decision making. It would just be a meeting open to the public to talk about this in general terms and explain where Dark Skies would like to go with this from this point on, and not pursue an ordinance, but instead see if we could get this incorporated into the zoning resolution. But
So
go ahead.
it'd still be a matter of discussion with no decisions made.
Absolutely correct. That's what Jim and I talked about. He's the one who asked for this. He's going to answer the questions that were asked. He suggested to me, and I said, well, that sounds like a reasonable idea, to get zoning and planning and Jackie Hobby involved, and Clint would write it, a discussion item so that people can say, oh, I see what you're trying to do. I see there's no penalty, and then people will have an opportunity to tell us whether they feel it's appropriate or not. And then ultimately, if we need more discussion, we will, or at some future after that board meeting, we could make a decision if we choose.
I just remember at that workshop, some of the people in the audience had suggested having an evening meeting.
This would be an evening meeting. That's what this is planned for.
I don't want to get into, I don't want to be usurping planning and zoning. We're going to write a resolution of what we think it ought to be, or whatever, then we're giving it to planning and zoning.
Now, you got it backwards. Planning and zoning is going to write it, and they're going to tell us what they think it ought to be.
Who's going to write it?
Planning and zoning. Clint's
I
gonna
will
do-
assist the planning commission in a proposed amendment to the resolution. I'll have something in writing for them, but I'll be doing that with the planning commission, not for the Board of County
And
Commissioners.
this needs to be a planning commission meeting that this occurs at then.
Well, they will have their formal meetings where they give the public notice and everything for further discussion on it. This is more of an introductory meeting, another workshop is what I had anticipated, to sort of introduce it to the public in general terms, with the understanding that from that point on, it would be Planning Commission that carries the ball and decides what they want to do and whether they want to make a recommendation to the board to amend the zoning resolution in this particular respect.
Yeah, I mean, I understood at that workshop that there would be more meetings, so we still have more meetings.
This is what we're trying to do, have another meeting.
Well, excuse me, what do you want, you said you want to present some guidelines at this workshop?
I'm going to explain this again. He gave me several dates that he would like to have a workshop.
Okay, and what days, what range of those again were?
16,
May?
June.
June 16, June 19, June 20, and June 22nd were suggested dates. None of them are firm, just suggested would one of those work is the way he proposed it to me. Okay. He said he'd like to have it open to the public in the evening so that people could come and discuss this. And then he said to me he'd like to work with zoning and planning, the committee, and Jackie, and Clint to come up with what they recommend would be a resolution for Dark Skies.
Prior to the meeting.
Yeah, it'd be at the meeting so people can read it and they can go, I like this, I don't like that. Am I not being clear?
you're saying we're gonna do this at the meeting, we like this or we don't like it, but who creates the original document? Do you create that?
No, zoning and planning's gonna do it. Zoning and planning's gonna tell Clint what to write, and this is gonna be for a provisional document.
Okay, and we've already visited with planning and zoning on this, they're up to date on it, kinda?
I know Jim Bradburn has talked to Vic Barnes at great length about this, and that's why we want to go this way. Again, I'm speaking for Dark Skies now. We wanted to do it this way, working with the Planning Commission as to what we would like, but when I work with the Planning Commission, it'll be as the county attorney. I mean, I'll take to them what Dark Skies is acting or asking for, but it's up to the Planning Commission if they want that, if they want to modify it. And I'll be the county attorney working as their attorney in that capacity.
How
But I'll
can you be both?
Well, I think I can. I mean, if somebody else wants to,
No, I'm just asking, there's no,
I'm just presenting something because Dark Skies has asked me to, and that's one of the things I do for Dark Skies, but I'm presenting it as the county attorney to planning and zoning, or to the Planning Commission, to see if it's something they're interested in.
because, so we've got, I didn't understand that we had them involved, that we were just inviting Jackie and Vic to come to the meeting. But
I
by
absolutely
that-
didn't say that.
Okay. No, I would like to have the entire Planning Commission present. It won't be a formal meeting of the Planning Commission. We can call it a workshop for the Board of County Commissioners and the Planning Commission, and advertise it that way so that it's clear it's a workshop for both entities, no decision-making, just getting some input from the public as to what we're thinking about doing, what Dark Skies wants, what the Planning Commission is thinking about doing.
That's fine, as long as, because I have had them come to me recently and feel like we're going around them on some things.
Okay, and that I understand.
And I
We'll make it
appreciate
very
their deal, but that's as far as I'm gonna go.
careful.
What did we go around them on? I'd
I
like
don't want to discuss it, that's not my.
to bring it up. We ought to know how we're
But
violating.
your building code that you're working on, they felt that you should have at least visited with them about it or to let them know what's going on. They feel that it's your baby you're carrying forward. And that was what they come to me about.
Well, Didn't the planning and zoning with it, but
Well, why would the chairman, well, we don't need to go there. That's between you and McZardy, your auspices. All right, what else do you have?